Mabuhay mga Excel Edge, and welcome back to the deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
Today, we're going to be exploring something
Okay.
that might seem a little unexpected for a real estate podcast.
Mhm.
Creativity.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
you might be thinking,
Sure.
creativity,
Yeah.
isn't that for artists and musicians?
Yeah.
But trust me,
Okay.
as Filipino real estate professionals,
Right.
striving to make your mark, especially in that competitive mid to high ticket market,
Yeah.
understanding and harnessing creativity can be your secret weapon.
Really?
I'm Lex, and with me as always is Vera, our expert guide for this deep dive.
Right.
We've got a stack of insightful sources ready to unpack.
Cool.
And our mission is to extract the most valuable nuggets of knowledge about creativity and how you can apply it to boost your real estate game.
It's going to be fun.
Absolutely.
So, Lex, let's just address the elephant in the room right away.
Okay.
This isn't about painting masterpieces or composing symphonies. Business creativity is about generating ideas that are not only original but also useful.
I like that.
Ideas that can change the way you approach challenges, connect with clients, and ultimately close deals.
So it's not about being artsy. It's about being innovative and
Mhm.
finding new solutions to those real estate challenges that we face every day.
Exactly.
Give us an example
Sure.
so our listeners can really grasp how this applies to their work.
So imagine you're trying to sell a property that's been on the market for a while.
Okay.
Instead of just sticking to the same old marketing strategies,
Yeah.
you could tap into your creative thinking skills and come up with something completely unique.
Yeah.
Maybe you create a virtual tour that highlights the property's history and cultural significance, appealing to a specific niche of buyers.
Oh.
Or perhaps you organize a community event at the property, showcasing its potential as a gathering space for families and friends.
Oh, wow.
These are just simple examples,
Sure.
but they illustrate how creativity can set you apart from the competition and attract the right clients.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It's about seeing things from a new perspective, finding those hidden opportunities that others might miss.
Right.
But Vera, it's not just about having those aha moments, is it?
Right.
There's more to the creative process than just those sudden bursts of inspiration, right?
Absolutely, Lex.
Yeah.
It's easy to think of creativity as like a lightning strike,
Uh-huh.
but it's actually a more structured process
Okay.
than most people realize.
Interesting.
One of the sources we're diving into breaks down creativity into 3 core components.
Great guy.
First, you need expertise.
Mhm.
A deep understanding of your field, the market, and your clients.
Okay.
This is the foundation upon which your creative ideas will be built.
Right.
The more knowledge you have, the more fuel you have for those creative sparks.
So all those hours you spend studying market trends, attending seminars, and learning about the intricacies of real estate transactions,
Yeah.
that's not just about gaining knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
It's also about building your creative capacity.
I
never thought of it that way before.
The second component is creative thinking skills.
Okay.
This is where your ability to think outside the box, connect seemingly unrelated ideas, and approach problems from different angles comes into play.
So it's not like you're either born creative or you're not.
Right.
You can actually train your brain to be more innovative.
Exact.
That's encouraging to hear.
And here's the good news.
Oh,
These skills can be developed and honed with practice.
really?
There are specific techniques and strategies you can learn to enhance your creative thinking abilities.
That's great.
The third component is motivation,
Okay.
and specifically intrinsic motivation.
Mm.
This means being driven by a genuine passion and interest in your work,
Okay.
rather than just external pressures like money or recognition.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Sure.
You're much more likely to come up with creative solutions when you're excited and engaged by the task at hand.
This resonates with me. I know that when I'm genuinely passionate about a project,
Mm-hmm.
the ideas just seem to flow. But how can we tap into that intrinsic motivation,
Mm-hmm.
especially when we're facing those inevitable real estate slumps
Yeah.
or dealing with difficult clients?
That's a great question, Lex, and one that we'll explore in more depth later on.
Okay.
But one of the sources suggests that it's about finding those aspects of real estate that truly spark your interest.
Okay.
Maybe it's the satisfaction of helping a family find their dream home,
Right.
the challenge of negotiating a complex deal, or the thrill of seeing your marketing efforts pay off.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Identify those things that give you a sense of purpose and fulfillment in your work and focus on cultivating those feelings.
I love that advice. It's about finding that inner spark that keeps you going even when the going gets tough.
Exactly.
But let's get practical here for a moment.
Okay.
Our listeners are ambitious.
Sure.
They want results.
Right?
So how can they actually put these creative principles into action to boost their real estate businesses?
Okay.
Give us the actionable steps.
You're right, Lex. We need to bridge the gap between theory and practice.
Okay.
One of the sources we're looking at outlines 6 key managerial practices
Right.
that have been shown to foster creativity in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And while these practices are often applied in corporate settings,
Yeah.
we can easily adapt them to the world of real estate,
Okay.
especially for those of you who are working independently.
Okay. I'm all ears. Let's dive into these practices and see how we can make them work for our Filipino real estate professionals.
The first practice is challenge.
Okay.
It's about finding that sweet spot
Mhm.
where you're pushing yourself just outside your comfort zone,
Yeah.
but not so far that you become overwhelmed.
Okay.
Set ambitious goals,
Right.
but make sure they're achievable.
Yeah.
This will keep you motivated and engaged,
Okay.
and it will create the conditions for creative problem solving.
So don't be afraid to stretch yourself.
Right.
But be realistic about your capabilities.
Mm.
It's about finding that balance between pushing your boundaries and setting yourself up for success.
The next practice is freedom.
Okay.
While it's important to have clear goals and objectives,
Yeah.
it's equally important to give yourself the autonomy to decide how you're going to achieve them.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to experiment with different approaches, try new things,
Mm.
and find what works best for you.
I like that.
This might mean exploring new marketing strategies,
Yeah.
adopting different communication styles with clients,
Right.
or even developing your own unique system for managing your leads.
This goes back to that entrepreneurial spirit that's so strong in Filipino culture.
Yes.
We're known for our resourcefulness and our ability to adapt and innovate.
Okay.
It's about taking ownership of your business and finding your own path to success.
Precisely.
The third practice is resources.
Okay.
Be honest with yourself about the time, energy, and financial resources you need to invest in your creative endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
Don't set yourself up for failure by trying to do too much with too little.
Right.
Make sure you have the support and the tools you need to bring your ideas to life.
This is especially important for our Filipino real estate professionals,
Yeah.
who are often juggling multiple responsibilities.
So true.
It's about being strategic
Uh-huh.
and prioritizing those tasks
Yeah.
that will have the biggest impact on your business.
Absolutely. And that actually ties into the next practice,
Okay.
which is work group features.
Okay.
Now, this might sound a bit corporate,
Yeah.
but it's really about recognizing the power of collaboration
Right.
and seeking out diverse perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
In the Filipino context, this could mean connecting with other agents,
Yeah.
finding mentors, or even collaborating with clients themselves.
That's a great idea.
It's about leveraging the spirit of Bayanihan,
I love that.
working together towards a common goal. I love how these practices can be adapted to our own cultural values.
It's about recognizing the strengths we have as a community and using them to our advantage.
Okay, what about the next two practices?
The fifth practice is supervisory encouragement.
Okay,
Now, since many of you are likely working independently,
right.
you'll need to become your own cheerleader.
Hmm.
Celebrate your wins, both big and small.
Okay.
Recognize your creative efforts
Mhm.
and give yourself the credit you deserve.
Yeah.
This positive reinforcement will fuel your motivation and inspire you to keep pushing those creative boundaries.
So no boss to pat you on the back,
Yeah.
pat yourself on the back.
Exactly.
I like it.
And finally, the sixth practice is organizational support.
Okay.
Again, this requires a bit of adaptation for solopreneurs.
Yeah.
It's about finding ways to create a supportive environment for your creative endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
This might mean joining professional networks that value innovation,
Okay.
seeking out mentors who encourage you to think outside the box,
Mm-hmm.
or even surrounding yourself with other successful entrepreneurs who inspire you.
So it's about building a network of support, even if you're working independently.
Exactly. It's about creating a community that fosters creativity and encourages you to bring your best ideas to the table.
This has been incredibly insightful, Vera.
Oh, good.
We've covered a lot of ground, and I know our listeners are already starting to see how these creative principles can be applied to their own real estate businesses.
Awesome.
But before we move on to the next part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I want to touch on something that I
Yeah.
think is particularly relevant for us Filipinos.
Okay.
The concept of whole brain thinking.
That's a great point, Lex.
What do you think?
And it's something that I think is often misunderstood.
Yeah.
It's not about being left brain or right brain,
Mhm.
but rather about recognizing the value of both analytical and intuitive approaches.
Right.
We all have strengths in one area or the other,
Yeah.
and it's about finding ways to leverage both sides of our brains to maximize our creative potential.
So it's not about trying to be someone we're not, but rather about embracing our own unique blend of skills and perspectives. Tell us more about how this applies to real estate.
Well, imagine you're a real estate professional
Yep.
who excels at data analysis and market research.
Right.
You're great at crunching numbers, identifying trends, and understanding the financial aspects of a deal.
Okay.
But maybe you struggle a bit with the more emotional and intuitive side of the business.
Oh.
Building rapport with clients,
Right.
understanding their needs, and creating a sense of connection.
Okay.
This is where whole brain thinking comes in.
So if you're strong in one area,
Uh-huh.
you need to find ways to develop the other.
Exactly, and vice versa.
Okay.
If you're naturally empathetic and intuitive,
Yeah.
but struggle with the analytical side of things,
Right.
you can develop those skills through practice and by seeking out resources and mentors who can guide you.
It's about finding that balance, that sweet spot, where logic and intuition work together to fuel our creativity.
Precisely.
And it's important to remember that this isn't just about individual growth.
It's also about building teams and organizations that embrace whole-brained thinking. When you have a diverse group of people with different strengths and perspectives, you create an environment that's ripe for innovation.
I agree.
This is all making so much sense now, and I think it's a perfect segue
Okay.
into the next part of our deep dive,
Right.
where we'll explore how to unlock our personal creativity
Right.
and how to foster a culture of innovation within our businesses.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned, mga Excel Edge, because we've got even more valuable insights coming your way in part 2.
Can't wait.
Welcome back to the deep dive, mga Excel Edge. We're delving deeper into the world of creativity and how you can leverage it to excel in the Philippine real estate market. And especially if you're aiming for those mid to high ticket properties.
You know, Lex,
Yeah.
one of the most fascinating things I've discovered in researching creativity is the power of peer culture, particularly for creative companies.
Right. We've talked about giving individuals freedom and autonomy to foster innovation.
Right.
But there's a flip side to that coin.
I'm intrigued. What's this flip side you're talking about?
It's the need for a structured environment
Okay.
where creative individuals can get honest and constructive feedback from their peers, not just from managers or supervisors.
Right.
This is where a strong peer culture comes into play.
So it's not just about having brilliant ideas in isolation.
Yeah.
You need that interaction, that back and forth with others
Yeah.
to refine and develop those ideas.
Precisely.
And one company that exemplifies this beautifully is Pixar.
Oh, yeah.
They've consistently produced some of the most innovative and beloved animated films,
Right.
and a lot of that can be attributed to their unique approach to fostering collective creativity.
Absolutely.
I'm all ears. Tell us more about how Pixar does things differently. What can our listeners, Filipino real estate professionals striving to make their mark, learn from them?
One of Pixar's key practices
Yeah.
is their Brain Trust. It's a group of their most experienced filmmakers who come together
Okay.
to provide feedback on movies and progress.
Right.
Now, what's interesting
Yeah.
is that this Brain Trust has no real authority. They can't force the director to make any changes, but because they're all respected filmmakers themselves,
Right.
their feedback carries a lot of weight.
So it's like a high-level peer review session
Yeah.
where everyone's opinions are valued even if there's no formal hierarchy.
Exactly.
And it's not just about pointing out flaws or problems.
Right.
The Brain Trust is also skilled at recognizing hidden potential, seeing things that the director might be too close to notice
Yeah.
because there's no ego involved.
Yeah.
It becomes a safe space
Right.
for open and honest feedback.
Exactly.
This reminds me of the Bayani Hand spirit we have in Filipino culture.
Oh, yeah.
The idea of coming together as a community to support each other, share ideas,
Right.
and help each other succeed. It sounds like Pixar has tapped into that same collective energy.
That's a great observation, Lex. And it's not just about the Brain Trust.
Okay.
Pixar has woven this culture of peer feedback into other aspects of their workflow.
Interesting.
For example, they have a daily review process
Okay.
where everyone involved in a film, from animators to lighting technicians,
Right.
gets to see the work in progress and provide feedback.
Wow, that's incredible. It creates a sense of shared ownership and responsibility
Yeah,
for the final product, doesn't it?
absolutely.
And it also helps catch potential problems early on,
Right.
preventing them from snowballing into bigger issues down the line.
Exactly.
I bet. Now, Pixar is obviously known for its amazing animation and storytelling,
Right.
but I'm curious about how they approach the technical side of things.
Yeah.
Do they foster that same peer culture in their engineering and technology departments?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They have a saying at Pixar, technology inspires art, and art challenges the technology. They recognize that technology isn't just a tool, but a source of creative inspiration. And they encourage their technical artists
Yeah.
to push the boundaries of what's possible, just like their storytellers do.
That's a powerful reminder that creativity isn't confined to any one department or role.
Right.
It's a mindset that permeates the entire organization.
And they've created systems and processes that allow those diverse contributions to flourish.
I'm sure our listeners are thinking, okay, Pixar is a huge, successful company,
Yeah.
but how can I apply these principles to my own real estate business?
Right.
What are some practical steps they can take to foster this kind of peer feedback culture, especially if they're working independently or with a small team?
That's a valid question, Lex.
Yeah.
And you don't need a brain trust of award-winning directors to benefit from peer feedback.
Right.
Start by looking at your existing network. Think about your colleagues, mentors, or even clients who you trust to give you honest and constructive feedback.
Right.
Reach out to them. Share your ideas and be open to their suggestions, even if they're not what you were expecting.
That's great advice. Sometimes all it takes is a fresh perspective
Right.
to spark a new idea or help us see a problem in a new light.
Exactly.
And remember, feedback isn't just about receiving criticism.
Right.
It's also about celebrating each other's successes, sharing knowledge, and learning from each other's experiences.
Exactly.
It's about building that sense of community and support that we talked about earlier.
Precisely.
And as Filipinos, we're already well equipped for this.
Yes.
We have a natural inclination towards collaboration and community. It's about tapping into that strength and channeling it into our professional lives.
Now, while it's inspiring
Yeah.
to see how companies like Pixar have cultivated such a vibrant creative culture,
Right.
I think it's important to acknowledge
Yeah.
that there are also challenges to fostering creativity, both within ourselves and within our organizations.
Absolutely, Vera. And one of the biggest hurdles we often face
Okay.
is the fear of failure.
That's a big one.
I think that resonates with a lot of Filipinos.
Yeah.
We're often raised to prioritize stability and security,
Right.
which can sometimes make us hesitant to take risks, especially when it comes to our careers.
You're right.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
Failure is an inevitable part of the creative process.
Yes.
You're going to have ideas that don't work out. You're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
The key is to view those failures
Right.
as learning opportunities, not setbacks.
That's a good way to look at it.
It's about embracing that quinamba mentality, being willing to experiment,
Right.
try new things,
Yeah.
and learn from our mistakes.
Exactly.
And remember, even the most successful creative people
Yeah.
have experienced their fair share of failures.
Right.
Think about Walt Disney.
Oh.
Before he created Mickey Mouse and built his empire, he had a string of failed businesses.
That's true.
Wow, I didn't know that.
He did.
So even Walt Disney had to overcome setbacks.
Absolutely.
But instead of giving up,
Uh-huh.
he learned from his mistakes,
Yeah.
persevered,
Right.
and kept innovating.
He did.
And look what he accomplished.
I know, it's amazing.
That's incredibly inspiring. It's a reminder that success often comes after a series of failures.
Right.
And that the key is to keep going, to keep learning,
Yeah.
and to never give up on our dreams.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Lex.
And remember, those failures often contain valuable lessons
Right.
that can help us on our journey to success.
But speaking of challenges,
Okay.
I think a lot of our listeners
Yeah?
might also be facing challenges within their organizations.
Right.
Maybe they work in an environment that doesn't exactly encourage creative thinking.
What are some of the creativity killers that we need to be aware of, and how can we overcome them?
That's a common problem, Lex.
Yeah.
Many companies are structured in ways that inadvertently stifle creativity.
Right.
One of the most common creativity killers is a lack of freedom. If employees feel like they're constantly being micromanaged,
Okay.
or that they don't have the autonomy to make decisions,
Right.
they're less likely to come up with new ideas.
So it's about creating a culture of trust and empowerment, where employees feel like they have the freedom to experiment and take risks.
Exactly.
Another creativity killer is a fear of judgment.
That's a big one.
Especially in Filipino culture,
Yeah.
we can be very sensitive to criticism,
Right.
and that can sometimes make us hesitant to share our ideas.
It's important for managers to create a safe space where employees feel comfortable sharing their ideas, even if they're not fully formed or if they're a little bit out there.
So it's about creating an environment where it's okay to fail,
Right.
where it's okay to make mistakes, and where it's okay to think differently.
Exactly.
And one of the best ways to do this is to lead by example.
That's right.
How so?
If managers are constantly criticizing new ideas
Oh,
or shooting down suggestions,
right.
it creates a culture of fear and negativity.
Yeah.
But if managers are open to new ideas, if they're willing to experiment,
Right.
and if they're supportive of their employees' creative efforts,
Right.
it creates a much more positive and innovative environment.
So it's about creating a culture where creativity is valued, where it's rewarded,
Yeah,
and where it's encouraged at every level.
exactly.
And it all starts with leadership.
That's right.
Leadership plays a crucial role in shaping the culture of an organization.
I agree.
Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground in this part of the deep dive.
Okay,
But before we wrap up,
sure.
I want to shift our focus back to the individual.
Right.
We've talked about how companies like Pixar foster creativity within their teams.
Yeah.
But how can we as individuals cultivate our own creativity,
Yeah.
even if we're working in a less than ideal environment?
That's an excellent question, Lex.
What do you think?
And it's something that I'm personally very passionate about.
Cool.
Let's delve into that in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay.
Where we'll explore practical tips and techniques for unlocking your personal creative potential.
Sounds good. Welcome back to the Deep Dive Maca Excel Edge. We're wrapping up our exploration of creativity and how you can tap into this powerful force to thrive in the world of Filipino real estate, especially if you're aiming for those mid to high ticket properties. Remember, in a competitive market like ours, creativity can be your secret weapon, setting you apart and helping you achieve remarkable results.
That's right, Lex. And we've talked a lot about fostering creativity within organizations.
Right.
But it's equally important to focus on nurturing our own individual creative potential.
Absolutely, Vera. After all, innovation starts with each one of us.
Right.
But I think there's a common misconception that creativity is this magical talent
Yeah.
that you're either born with or you're not.
Right.
Like some people are just naturally creative types,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest of us are stuck with our ordinary,
Right.
non-creative brains.
That's a myth we need to debunk right away, Lex.
Yeah?
The truth is,
Right.
creativity is like a muscle. The more you use it,
Yeah.
the stronger it gets.
Okay.
And just like any muscle,
Uh-huh.
it needs the right kind of training and nourishment to grow.
So it's not about waiting for inspiration to strike.
Right.
It's about actively cultivating our creative potential.
Exactly. And there are tons of practical things we can do to flex those creative muscles and make them stronger.
Okay, I'm ready to get those creative juices flowing.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite creativity boosting techniques?
One of the simplest yet most effective techniques is to expose yourself to new experiences.
Okay.
Try a new restaurant,
Right.
visit a museum, travel to a different part of the Philippines, learn a new skill. Anything that shakes up your routine and forces you to see the world from a fresh perspective.
Makes sense. When we're stuck in the same old routine,
Right.
our brains tend to get stuck in the same old patterns.
Yeah,
And those patterns can stifle our creativity.
exactly. Another great technique is to cultivate your curiosity.
I love that curiosity is contagious, isn't it?
It is, and it's essential for creativity.
All right.
When we're curious,
Yeah.
we're more open to new ideas,
Right.
more likely to ask questions,
Right.
and more eager to learn and explore.
So how can we actually become more curious? Do you have any tips for our listeners?
One simple tip is to start paying attention
Okay.
to the things that spark your interest.
Mhm.
What are you naturally drawn to?
Yeah.
What makes you want to learn more?
Right.
Follow those threads of curiosity
Mhm.
and see where they lead you.
It's about rediscovering that childlike sense of wonder and excitement about the world.
Exactly. Another great way to boost your creativity is to make time for play.
Play. But we're adults with serious businesses to run.
I know it might sound counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but play is actually essential for creative thinking.
Hmm.
When we play, we're more relaxed,
Okay.
more open to experimentation,
Mhm.
and less afraid to make mistakes. Think
Yeah.
about it. Kids are incredibly creative
Yeah.
because they're constantly playing and exploring.
So you're saying we need to reclaim that playful spirit.
Exactly. Make time for activities that you enjoy,
Okay.
that bring you joy, that allow you to be silly
Uh-huh.
and to let loose.
I'm totally on board with that. Now I want to talk about something that I think is super important for Filipino entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Mentorship.
Oh, excellent point.
Right.
Lex, mentorship can be a game changer for aspiring entrepreneurs, especially when it comes to unlocking their creative potential.
Why is that? How can having a mentor help us be more creative?
Well, for one thing, a good mentor can provide valuable guidance and support. They can help you identify your strengths and weaknesses.
Okay. Challenge you to think outside the box.
Right.
And provide a safe space for you to share your ideas and get constructive feedback.
It's like having a personal creativity coach in your corner.
Exactly.
Cheering you on.
Right.
And helping you navigate the challenges along the way.
And in Filipino culture, we have a strong tradition of mentorship.
Right.
With ninongs and ninangs playing an important role in our lives.
That's true. But how can our listeners find a mentor who can help them specifically with their creative goals?
Look for someone who inspires you.
Okay.
Who has achieved the kind of success you aspire to. It could be another real estate professional, a successful entrepreneur, or even someone from a completely different field.
Okay.
Who embodies the creative spirit you want to cultivate.
Great advice. And don't be afraid to reach out to people you admire.
Yeah.
You never know. They might be more than happy to share their wisdom.
And support your journey. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier.
Sure.
Intrinsic motivation.
Ah, yes. The fuel that powers true creativity.
Exactly. We talked about how it's about finding the things that genuinely excite us and drive us to do our best work.
And remember that passion can come from anywhere. It doesn't have to be something grand or world-changing.
So what are some examples of things that might spark intrinsic motivation for our listeners?
Okay.
Specifically, Filipino real estate professionals working in that mid to high ticket market.
Maybe you're passionate about helping Filipino families find their dream homes, creating beautiful and functional spaces that enhance their lives.
Right.
Maybe you're excited about the challenge of revitalizing a historic property, preserving our cultural heritage while creating something new and innovative. Maybe you're driven by the desire to build a successful business that not only benefits you, but also creates opportunities for others in your community, showcasing the best of Filipino talent and entrepreneurship.
Those are all fantastic examples. And I think the key takeaway here is that intrinsic motivation is deeply personal.
Absolutely. It's about finding the things that light your fire, make you want to jump out of bed in the morning and tackle the day.
That's such a powerful image. And I think it's a perfect note to end on Makake Excel Edge. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of creativity. We hope you've gained some valuable insights. And that you're feeling inspired to unlock your own creative potential. Remember, creativity isn't just for artists or musicians.
Right.
It's a superpower that can help you thrive in the competitive world of real estate, especially if you're focused on that mid to high ticket market where standing out is essential. So go out there, experiment, explore, and don't be afraid to let your creativity shine through. Don't forget to visit www.exceledge.com/60ch to discover how Excel Edge Realty can help you dominate that market, leveraging the creative skills we've explored today. Before you go, hit that follow button and share this deep dive with your fellow real estate professionals who could benefit from this knowledge. This week, I challenge you to pay attention to those moments when you feel that spark of intrinsic motivation in your work. What activities bring you joy? What challenges make you feel truly alive? Make time for more of that and watch your creativity soar mabuhay. And see you next time on The Deep Dive.